Hey guys, what's up, dudes? This is YouTube Vids here coming at you with another video, guys. This time we're going to be talking about Jon Gruden. So I want to try to keep this a thing. As long as I listen to the Dan Patrick Show in the morning, they actually give some pretty good ideas of things that I can use to interact with you guys, and questions and surveys and stuff like that. So I want to try to keep this up, guys, and see how this goes. So this morning on the Dan Patrick Show, of course, they were talking about the big thing, which was the Oakland Raiders officially announcing Jon Gruden as their coach, and the general word out there as far as his contract was concerned was that he's supposed to be getting a 10-year contract worth $100 million. So before I get too much into the questions or this question I want to ultimately pose to you guys, and what the Dan Patrick Show had brought to the table. Like my personal opinion about the whole situation is this: I don't understand how Oakland would be, how you'd be, for a guy who hadn't coached at least in 10 years, how you'd be so willing to just throw this huge 10-year contract at him, for $100 million at that, based on, like, again, the guy hadn't coached a football team in 10 years. And not to mention, I'm not trying to downplay the possibility that Jon Gruden can be an effective coach or has been an effective coach in some way, shapes, or form in the past, but we have to keep in mind that the only Super Bowl that this guy won was with Tampa Bay, and that was the year that he got, I believe, traded to Tampa Bay after Tony Dungy was on the way out. And so effectively, Jon Gruden had won Tony Dungy's Super Bowl for him, more or less, in the Bucs that season, and that was the only time that they had actually won a Super Bowl with Jon Gruden. So, and honestly, I don't believe they ever got back to any other Super Bowl after that. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% certain on that, so don't quote me on that. But for some reason, I feel like subsequent years they only made it to, I think they may have got to the divisional round once or something like that. But I don't believe that under Jon Gruden's tutelage, or him being a coach in Tampa Bay, that they ever went any further than the divisional round and following years with all the various quarterbacks they had. And remember, they won the Super Bowl with Brad Johnson, and they had like several quarterbacks come into Tampa Bay after that. None of whom, to be honest, were particularly great. So that may be a different story here in Oakland. He's got Derek Carr, so he actually has, what I would consider to be a pretty good quarterback. He was actually one of the guys when the Browns had the opportunity to draft him. I was actually kind of hoping the Browns would take him because he sounded like one of the more stable quarterbacks, in that draft. But regardless, that didn't happen, and so again, back to this whole Jon Gruden story. So I think I've kind of made my argument. I feel like if anything, Jon Gruden would be. I feel like he would be a coach maybe 4 to 6 years approximately, but I feel like no one knows, I think, what's in the details of the contract. So none of the media outlets seem to understand what's in the detail of the contract. Oh, it sounds like only Jon Gruden does, and even then, at his press conference yesterday, he mentioned that he had no idea what was in his contract. So, which that seems kind of odd, but so I just think he was trying not to discuss it, which is fine. May not be for other people's business, but still, it's still intriguing to understand, like, why, given what I had just previously said, that you would just throw all this money at this guy. So, I guess, and also I guess to go with that, his assistant coaches ended up getting 4-year deals. So anyone that he's bringing on right now to act like quarterback coaches, defensive, all that kind of stuff, whatever positions he has to fill, it was said that they're getting 4-year contracts. So at the very least, it sounds like he'll be 4 years. And so the other problem I have with this is from a business perspective. If you're running a business, whether it's the NFL or not, I mean, you don't just throw money at something like this unless it's almost like a slam dunk guarantee, like you're going to get back your investment on this. And honestly, I don't know how Davis can be so sure that they're going to get an investment back on this. Again, I gave you the history of what he had with the Bucs, and yes, it was slightly different because of the quarterback situation, but again, like, the past is the past, the history is the history. It is what it is. So you can't change that. You can't sugarcoat it. It is what it is, right? So I feel like that's a pretty big business risk, and it would be a huge risk if you find out that in that contract that if for some reason they have to cut Gruden or get rid of him after 4, 5, 6 years because maybe they don't get to the promised land, they don't get to where they think they need to be. I feel like, wow, like just what a huge waste of money. Let's say the guy lasts 4 years and you still have to end up paying him $60 million, in theory. Now, I don't know how, again, we don't know how they organize the contract, if it's front loaded or back loaded or whatever the case may be. We don't know how much money he's being paid per year. So similar to like players, usually sometimes they may load more in the front, so you get a huge check like that first year, and then like the second year is just slightly smaller and so on and so forth, and you have bonuses and blah blah blah. We don't know how the contract's organized. So, but again, I just feel like that's a huge risk for a franchise, and again, without knowing the details, it's kind of hard to say how big the risk is. But let's just hope that the Davis put in something in that contract to protect him and the organization from having to pay out money to someone who may not even be there like half the time that they're signing him for as per this contract. But so how this leads into the purpose of this video. So on the Dan Patrick show this morning, they did a poll, and so the poll was how long will Jon Gruden be the Raiders coach? Now we're not going to say Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders, because really it sounds like the plan would still be for him to transition the team over into Las Vegas when that takes place, in the 3 years from now. So the next 2 years they're going to play in Oakland, and then 3 years from now that'll be when they make the transition to Vegas. So at least the next 2 years he'll be the coach, and then most likely at least another 2 years as they transition to Vegas. But what happens, again, if things go downhill? And again, so this is where I want you guys to chip in and give me your opinion of what you think. So the options are, and I'm going to put in the description, guys, below the video, in the description, there's going to be a straw poll link that I want you guys to click, and there's going to be 4 options for you there. First option is going to be A, 1 to 3 years. The second option is going to be B, 4 to 6 years. Third option is going to be C, 7 to 9 years, and the fourth option is going to be D, 10 plus years. And again, the question's on the poll, but it's how long will Jon Gruden be a coach of the coach of the of the Raiders? I think most of the people, per the Dan Patrick show this morning, the votes they tallied up, they said most people actually said 4 to 6 years, and so that and again, my opinion, I think I made clear yesterday in the stream. Yesterday when we went into some conversation about this, I don't feel anything beyond 4 to 6 years is reasonable. I mean, he'll be pretty old in 10 years. He'll be older, of course, just as anyone would be, but he'll be pretty old in 10 years. So, I mean, I don't know if he makes it 10 years. Maybe even just for health reasons. You never know. But again, so I want you guys to vote, guys. So I like having this opportunity to interact with you dudes, and hopefully, you guys take me up on these opportunities, guys. So be sure, again, click the link below in the description to the straw poll, vote. And the unfortunate part about the straw poll is I can't get comments from you guys as to like why you think, what you're thinking as to why you're giving the answer that you're giving. So if you wouldn't mind, and you feel like you have some additional feedback you want to provide in addition to just your answer, go ahead and put a comment in the section below the video, guys, and let me know, like, hey, I feel like 10 plus years because of this. If there's anything else that you can think about this contract that might be dicey or seems iffy to you, or maybe just some reason to support why Jon Gruden deserves such a contract, be sure to put that in the comment. If you want to try to prove me wrong, prove me right, I don't care either way. I just want some interaction and some feedback with you guys. So, and also, dudes, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, I would appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe. We are 127 subscribers from 5,000 subs. I would love to hit that as soon as possible this year. My goal for end of year is 10,000 subs, dude. So I'm looking forward to a big year. Looking forward to growing by double this year. So that would be huge for the channel. And actually, also, in addition to subscribing, it would be ideal if you can share the video with your friends or family members, anyone else who might actually like the content on the channel. If you're not familiar with the content on my channel, go take a look at my channel and see what see what I have to offer. I have videos like this, like some movie reviews and stuff like that I've done, and also It's game simulations for NFL, NBA, NHL, WWE, UFC, you name it. I've most likely simulated it. So go check those out. And again, share them with your friends, share them with people who you think might actually be interested. And last but not least, guys, be sure to leave a like on the video. I appreciate it when you guys leave a like on the video. That shows your support for the channel, dudes. And I couldn't appreciate a better audience. I thank you guys for anyone who has supported me throughout the last year or so. I appreciate your support very much. So I look forward to seeing what you guys, how you guys vote in the poll and what you guys put in the comments. I'll try to keep the description below updated at least for the next couple of weeks with the results from the polling. Or you can just go check it out yourself. But either way, I'll try to keep it in the video for anyone who doesn't want to go take a look at the poll. So again, guys, look forward to your vote, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.